And this is just a continuation. Don't complain about men not being heroes anymore, men not protecting you, men not saving you from your own bad decisions. We're done with this. We are done with it. This is a story about an American, a Good Samaritan American, who was visiting Germany, and some women were being hassled by some Syrian immigrants in Germany. And he stepped in to stop them giving these ladies a hard time. And he caught a knife in the face for it. He caught a blade in the face for it. An American has been stuck. I'm going to watch a couple of these words just so people on YouTube do know what I'm talking about. Not all of them, but a couple. An American's been stuck he's been given the old meh after confronting a Syrian national in Germany after allegedly stepping in to help two female passengers who were being harassed on a tram, according to the reports. The young man was attacked around 12:25 a.m. on Sunday after intervening when two men from a group was giving the women a hard time on a tram. You can see there's a lot of Kool-Aid on the floor. That is a lot of Kool-Aid on the floor. Pictures from the scene show Kool-Aid splattered all over the tram, cherry Kool-Aid, along with empty booze bottles as well as tissues and other passengers used to halt him from bleeding out. The unidentified American was rushed to the hospital in serious condition with wounds to his face, according to police. 21-year-old U.S. citizen intervened and was injured. And that's a lot of juice right there on the floor, let me tell you. He suffered multiple cuts. And now, here's the best part. One suspect, a 21-year-old Syrian national named as Majid A by police, was arrested less than half a mile away at another tram stop on suspicion of being involved in the attack after allegedly messing up the American man on the tram. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now, remember, this happened Sunday. This incident happened Sunday. He was released by police later on Sunday. So this guy stopped in to save the women. Remember, this is the whole thing I did in the previous story. This is the whole thing about this dummy saying, hey, men, step up. Hey, men, jump in here. Do something. Well, this guy got seriously injured out of it. And the guy that did it to him was released on the same day, despite having been previously charged on a different day of grievous bodily harm, robbery, illegal entry. So he can go out and do grievous bodily harm to somebody, released back into the public. He can then rob somebody and illegal entry, released into the public. He can come up to you and zip, 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 give you the Joker smile. Do you know why I got these scars? Wait, what is it? Do you know how I got these scars? So he can give this American the Joker grin, and he's released the same day. But you want us Americans and us Germans and us French and us English and Irish and Scottish and Australia and wherever else, you want us men to jump in and save you. Just to now get your face effed up, and he's back out on the street on an hour later. My answer to that is, wait for it. I got it right here in my pocket. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. That's the answer to that right there. You want to get angry at somebody? Get angry at the cops that keep releasing them, and the judges that keep releasing them, and the prosecutors that keep releasing them, and the government that allows them in your country and allows them to keep getting released, and the government that doesn't export them. You know who you're not allowed to get it anymore? Us. Self-preservation. Us looking out for ourselves. Now, you women that aren't strong enough to protect yourselves, blame the police, blame the judges, blame the prosecutors, blame your government. Vote differently. Not my problem anymore. And not a lot of other men's problems anymore. And yeah, you might call me out and call me a horrible human being that doesn't care. Oh, I care very much. I would love to be able to step in and make a difference and keep people safe. I would do that. I would do that. Except the government punishes me for doing it. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. I'll save a woman from a drowning car. I'd do that. I used to be a lifeguard. I'm a very accomplished swimmer, and I'm fatter than I used to be. So now I have more buoyancy. I'd probably be okay. I'll save a woman and a puppy from a drowning car. I'll go tackle someone and shove them out of traffic. I won't get hit by the vehicle myself. I'll make a judgment call. I'd save them out of traffic if they're going to get hit by a bus. But you want me to step in on this anymore? No. And smart guys refuse to, because otherwise they're getting their national news. So the guy that did this, he's been released, or one of the guys that did this. According to the on-call public prosecutor's assessment, there were insufficient grounds for detention. They said, we can't prove he's the one with the blade. There were two guys there, and we can't prove he's the one that actually did a Zorro on this guy's face. We can't prove it was him. Did they hold him until they found the other guy? Did they hold him until he said, hey, okay, I'm going to get charged with this crime unless I give up my buddy that actually did it. I'm going to get charged with it. So I better give up the guy that actually did it. No, it was just, did you do this? No, and you can't prove I did it. It was the other guy. Who's the other guy? Okay, let him go. The second man, who allegedly returned to the tram and stuck the guy, is still on the run. Maybe, or maybe it was the other guy that did it. And he just threw his implementation in the gutter and kept walking. The U.S. Embassy in Berlin added a statement. We strongly condemn the brutal attack on an American citizen in Dresden. While courageously intervening to protect a fellow passenger, he was viciously attacked. We urge German authorities to swiftly bring the perpetrators to justice. I saw this go viral. And I actually found, over the course of a day or two, I found a better quality video that came out. Ironically, it was from Joe Rogan Podcast News. An American tourist jumping into action after seeing Syrian illegal immigrant known dealer, illicit substance dealer, sexually harassing women in Germany, and another guy slashed him in the face. This is his response.
If y'all didn't think that Europe had an immigration problem, especially Germany, let me drop some knowledge on you. It is 11:57 right now. In 3 minutes, that man that assaulted that young woman yesterday will be released from custody. He'll be released from custody because he's not a citizen of Germany. He's not a citizen of the EU, for that matter. He doesn't even belong in here. He's an immigrant, an illegal one, a dealer, and very popularly known here, especially by the police. This is not the first time this has happened. It's not the first time that man had beat up a woman, and it's not the first time that the other guy decided to take a swing at my face with a 6-inch blade. If they could do this to the people of Germany and then just get released 12 hours later, even less at this point, where's the law? Where's the structure? If Germans are held to that law and that structure, but these people could just come in, swing knives, and hurt, terrorize, and oppress citizens of Germany, then what do we do?
He finishes off with, what do we do? Now, all of us are saying, well, he's an idiot for stepping in. I guarantee you he feels the same thing. This is a young man that was raised right. He was probably raised similar to myself. He was raised probably similar to the way you guys were raised, which is be a good person for society, observe the law, obey the law, try to uphold a good society, and by helping maintain the law. And just like that, in a blink of an eye, this guy, he's not helping anybody anymore. That's why we call this a red pill. This red pill was a suppository. And it's not red pill about women in this case. It's a red pill about society, about government, about the punishment and the results of the way people vote. Now I know a lot of people out there, and I read the comments on YouTube and Rumble and the rest of these. And a lot of people say, well, you know, voting doesn't change things. Voting doesn't matter. Think of how different where we'd be today if Kamala Harris got in here in the United States. Think of the difference where we'd be today, Kamala Harris versus Trump. Instead of getting people out of the country, we'd have another 10 million in by now already. Instead of getting DEI out of things or trying to get it out of things, it would be more implemented in law. Instead of shrinking a lot of these agencies would be growing. I understand that people say, look, voting doesn't matter. But when you've only got a few people willing to literally fight back, when it's the ones and tens and hundreds maybe that fight back versus millions and the power of the government against you, this is what happens. Here you have a guy that fought back. He said, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm going to fight back. And what happened to him? He got hurt. Yes, maybe the women got away, but he got hurt. And the guy that's doing the crime is going to be right back at it, because he even said the police know him. And the reports say the same thing. The police know who he is. The police know what he does. He's done this multiple times. They don't hold him. They maybe arrest him. Maybe they don't even arrest him. So how does one person fighting back work? It doesn't. What about 5 guys? Well, that doesn't work either, because the 5 guys that kicked the guy that dropped trow on the tram the other day in the UK, the guy that dropped trow was deemed mentally incompetent and he was released. But now there's a manhunt for the 5 guys that kicked him off the train because they want to throw the book at him. See, you can't just, I'm going to fight back against the system. It doesn't work. One dude fighting back against the system doesn't work. It needs to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And things have to get really, really, really bad for the average guy to say, okay, that's it. I'm quitting my job. I'm marching on a Capitol, or I'm going to fight back. It takes we're not anywhere close. Look at some of the other countries that are way worse than ours. You'd be surprised the amount of crap people will put up with from their government before they fight back. And it's got to be a large force. Let's see. Apparently this guy was a model. He's an American model. And I pulled up stories as I came across them. This is updated as of today. The Syrian migrant finally arrested for the attack on this American model after cops previously let him go. So imagine being a model, a face model, and having your face hacked up. That was probably a bad decision on him. Anyway, they've arrested the 21-year-old Syrian national and accused him of involvement in the savage attack on the American model John Rudat, who was beaten up and slashed across the face after he stepped in to help women. The migrant, identified as Majid A., who was previously taken into custody and then released on Sunday following the attack, was reassessed early Tuesday after quote-unquote new evidence came to light. Police in the eastern German city said in a statement he had appeared before the judge at Dresden District Court on Tuesday and was remanded into custody. Now that further investigation results are available, the 21-year-old guy who was briefly in police custody is also under strong suspicion of having been involved in the attack on the American. Well, we knew that. We knew the other guy was involved because he was with this guy, but they released him previously. What made them change their minds? What made them decide to go back and quote-unquote reinvestigate and decide to hold that Syrian immigrant into account? Social media, peer pressure, viral videos, the police agency getting called out for this. That's what made the difference. People taking up arms didn't make the difference. The social pressure on the police agency. Now, of course, they're saying there's new findings. There's no new findings. There's no new findings. It's just pressure. Yeah, here's the guy. Got him right across the nose. Boy, right from right from just about the corner of his eyes through the tip of his nose, just took off one complete nostril. That is really bad. Video footage purportedly showing Majid beating up 21-year-old Rudat before his accomplice then approached him, pulled out the blade, nicked him across the face, slashed him across the face. He was carrying what police called a dangerous object in his fist, which might have been, who knows, brass knuckles. Peer pressure. That's the only thing that made the difference. Peer pressure, social media pressure. You go grabbing arms and going out to protect to protect the country like this dingbat wants us to do in the other video. That's not gonna make the change. This isn't a war so much on the street. It's a war of opinion. It's a war of bad press. It's a war of media. Yeah, that's very true. He did almost lose his eye. Had it been quarter of an inch up a little bit higher, he would have lost his eye, his left eye. Do I blame him for stepping in and helping the women? I don't. There was a time I would have done the same. He's a young guy. He's full of piss and vinegar. He thought he could make a change. He wanted to do the right thing. Will he ever do it again? No. Will he try to be a hero again? No. Would the government have let the guy just completely walk, the criminal? Would he have let him walk if there wasn't enough pressure on the government to do something? Yes. So what's the point of helping? Genuine question. What's the point of helping if you risk injury and or being thrown under a jail and they just let him out the next day? There's zero point in helping him. Zero. Now this Jill Ciminillo, and this kind of has a little bit to do with what we're talking about today, so I just thought I'd toss this in on the end here. This Jill Ciminillo says, now, if you don't know, for those across the pond, for those of you in Australia or somewhere else, President Trump, so we have D.C., District of Columbia. It's not a state. It's just a little federal zone where our government operates. It was shaved off Maryland, I believe, long ago. And so it is controlled by the federal government, even though it has a mayor and etc. And Trump has the ability to take control of the area because it's federal. And so he took some reservists and he took some, I guess, I don't know if he put, and I know some of the National Guard, but anyway, he took a lot of them and he put them in Washington, D.C. to stop a lot of the crime. And instantly, the murder rate in D.C., which is one of the highest in the nation, went to zero instantly. All the crime, carjackings, muggings, everything went down to zero. Went very, very low. And now you can like Trump, you can hate Trump, it doesn't matter. You can like Republicans, hate Republicans, it doesn't matter. Trump had the ability to do this. He sent in the troops because he can do it for 30 days. And he basically halted all crime because the city is just inundated with cops and law enforcement and reservists and the guard and everybody else. They're just all over the place. And the crime went to zero. This is the epitome of the stupidity that I'm talking about, where women will keep voting for the things that hurt them and then brag about it like, well, I owned you, chuds. I'm not going to vote for Orange Hitler Cheeto. I'm totally owning you. Also, my life sucks. She says, "Dear @real Donald Trump, I've been carjacked in Chicago with my own arm broken. I still don't want your troops here. By the way, there are no red hats here." So she's bragging there's no Trump supporters, no red hats. She's bragging that she's so proud she doesn't want Trump in her city with the reservists and the National Guard. But she also admits she got carjacked in Chicago, lost her car, and got her arm broken at the same time but screw you because I don't like you, you fascist dictator. But also I'm admitting things really suck where I live. So to own, I don't know, Republicans, to own Trump supporters, to own Trump, she says, I guess I'd rather have my arm broken and my car stolen than to be able to thank President Trump for anything he's doing. Needless to say, this did not go well for her. They did a segment on Fox News about her. She went viral on Reddit, 4chan, 9gag, Twitter, everywhere. This is the placard of the proud, dumb liberal to brag about. Well, guess what? She protected her posts because she was getting so much pushback, and she wasn't even getting hate. She was just being called stupid. And she's an automotive editor. Now, she does have a YouTube channel. Let's see how her YouTube channel's doing.
Hello. Thank you.
Let's see. She talks about her, I guess she's doing car reviews. I wonder which car was hers that got stolen. Does she just go around test driving cars and then give opinions on it? Good for her if that's what she does. But whatever car was hers, she doesn't have one anymore. Let's see. Okay, I read that one from Purge. Luke said, do you still think women should have the right to vote? The problem, okay, so women have moved Republican 14 points since Biden, since 2020 to 2024. Women move 14 points towards Republican. And there are a lot of men, that vote leftist as well. I don't think we have necessarily a woman voting problem. I think we have a leftist voting problem. So I think what happens, with the way we fix a lot of this is you must be a tax positive on society. If you collect unemployment, you're out. If you collect food stamps, you're out. If you get paid money because you're a single baby mama, you're out. If you're a leftist that likes to get paid to go to protests and you don't claim any of that on the IRS, you're out. I think if you just made it net income earners versus tax burdens, I think that would solve all the problems by a long shot. That's the way it needs to be. That's the way it needs to go. Troubadour says buoyancy. Yeah, I'm still a good swimmer. I still have all my lifeguard skills. Obviously, I'd be very rusty, but I am fatter, so I'd float easier. Luke says, when I was young, I thought women should be protected. After the red pill, I hated women. Now I'm just apathetic towards women, neither pro or against. Just nothing left in me to care. But only fools women are still disgusting. I care about women. I do. In general, as a society, I care about women. You know, I'm because in the real world, things are different. You know what I mean? Things are different in the real world. I go to the grocery store. The checkout clerks are very nice to me. You know, they're probably 20-somethings. They don't look at me and think I'm hot. I can guarantee that. But they're nice and they're professional and they're polite. They're nice. They're nice people. I bump into nice people a lot. Now I'm in small town USA out here in Tennessee. So yeah, we're way more conservative out here. We have, and since I'm in a small town, we have good sense of community. Here, people would look out for each other and people would appreciate you looking out for each other. That's the difference though. This woman in Chicago, she's voting for the madness. She's living in the madness. She wants to virtue signal into the madness. There's no helping a woman like this. So, but when it comes to, like here, if a migrant did something and was like pulled out a weapon, was going to hurt somebody, by law, I can pull out my 9mm hole puncher and punch him full of holes And the sheriffs, when they show up, will pat me on the back saying thank you. And so would everybody around that I just helped. They would thank me. The government here, at least, my mayor is Kane. I don't know if you guys watch professional wrestling. Kane, right? The big red machine, Glenn Jacobs, is my mayor. He would probably give me a medal to the city if I put enough holes in enough criminals. He's all for it. He's mayor of Knoxville. And I'm on the outskirts of Knoxville. I'm like 5 seconds from the next county over, so I just skim it. He'd thank me. I know where I'm living, but if you put me in New York City, you're on your own. You're on your own there, because I know the government and the people there are against my best wishes. They're against their own. They're against their own interests. I'm not helping them. They're on their own. So I think it depends. That's really what I'm saying. I think you need to know your situation, know your neighborhood, know the people around you. Adnan says, I was talking to a female friend of mine at work yesterday. She's a little older than me. I'm 30. She said something she had noticed with the new generations. They seem to be very lustful rather than loving, and for lack of a better word, kind of evil. I wouldn't have used that word evil, but I don't think she's too far off. The care and the well-being of your fellow man is going on the wayside. And since we've gone to the dating apps, and since relationships are so short-term, and because everything is in the now, I call it the fast food relationship, which is you meet, you get the butterflies, you have the hookups, lots and lots and lots of great sex. Things die off. They get boring, kind of predictable. Refresh, repeat, refresh, repeat. Because of that, you don't have a loving relationship. I don't think you love yourself very much, or else you wouldn't be going through this loop. You have love of adulation on social media, but you don't love yourself. You don't love your fellow man. There's no sense of community. You don't love your children because you're not having many of the. I think everybody's very self-centered, and I think it's going to lead to a lot of misery. You give it a few more years. You give it a few more, maybe another 5 or 10 years. I think it's going to be twice as bad as it is now. Just the people being sad and depressed, and their life is meaningless. They don't have anything. They don't have any reason to go on. It's all clicks and beeps and likes and hearts on social media, and that's all they have. I wouldn't use evil. I'd call it shallow, narcissistic, and in the moment. They don't plant the tree for the next generation. They don't even plant a tree in their youth so they can enjoy their old age. I don't know what they're doing. Roughneck says we have a large immigrant voting problem who regularly vote to suppress speech, more government handouts, and gun restrictions. Oh, I agree. It's just going to keep getting worse. The irony is, see, and maybe this is going off on a side tangent, but Social Security, and not to say that people that paid into Social Security don't deserve what they get back. I'm not saying that, because my parents paid into Social Security. The irony is you pay in so much money into Social Security that if you had just invested in a good, solid 401k and got average market return, you'd get back 10 times what the government gives you for Social Security. Social Security and all these other government things are a Ponzi scheme. And part of the problem they're having with these Ponzi schemes is they can't pay out anymore. They're going bankrupt, because when population is growing, it works great. Just like when Ponzi schemes are growing, it works great. But then on the backside, during the decline, everybody loses. And what they're trying to do, whether it's in Japan or Korea or England or the UK or here, they say, well, we don't have enough people to prop up this Ponzi scheme anymore of Social Security and all this other stuff. We need more people here to prop it up. And so they bring in all these illegals. The problem is you're just bringing in more people, and you're not actually growing the population anymore. You're replacing the population, and it's just making a bigger population, which means down the road, you'll need even more people to keep propping up the Ponzi scheme. You can't do that infinitely. It will collapse. All they're doing by bringing in the foreign and all the immigration and all this stuff, they're just trying to prop the Ponzi scheme up until the people that are in our government or the people that are maybe close to retirement or whatever, until they're gone. Then they say, well, we don't have to worry about it anymore. We'll be dead. And this is why I hash on the boomers in our government so much. And I know you boomers out there, I'm not hating on all of you, but I am hating on the boomers in the government because like the Nancy Pelosi's, like the Chuck Schumers, like the Lindsey Grahams, like I'm trying to think of some older conservatives. Anyway, conservative, Democrat, doesn't matter. All of them are just like, well, let's keep things afloat. I'm 78. I got maybe 10 years left in me. Who cares? Well, like once I'm dead, who cares what happens? I'm gone. So let's keep things good until I'm gone. That's what's destroying everything. That's why I hate the boomers in our government. If you had a government filled with 30-year-olds, they'd be looking at long-term plans. You know, if you look at most of our founding fathers when they signed all of our the Declaration of Independence and they signed in our Constitution, and they were in their 20s. Now, granted, they died in their 40s a lot of time, but they were still what we consider young today, 20. They were middle-aged men because you get to 40 or 50, you lived a good life. Die from stepping on a rake. They still had plenty of years left ahead of them. The people in our governments today are like, I'm out of here in 10 or 15 years anyway. Like, who cares? I'm just going to make things good for me, and then I'm gone, and then who cares? That's why I think so much of this is getting bad, because our government keeps getting older, and they keep having short, nearsightedness. Who cares about, let's only worry about the midterms. Let's only worry about the next election. Let's only worry about the midterms. Let's only worry about the next election. That's their brain process. Now, we are totally catastrophically destroying the next generation or two. They don't care. They don't care. Castle says, Brains Recovery Fund, thank you for your service in digging through the trash heap of the internet. You're welcome, sir. Logan says, 2 likely scenarios from protecting women from immigrants. The native citizens will, A, leave society or country as reverse refugee from the refugees coming in, or B, civil war, rise of a national uprising after it gets unavailable for the majority and lose everything and can't escape, will fight back. Well, the problem is in a civil war, you've got 2 ideologies and both have governments that each government wants to have control. The problem that you see in Canada and in the UK and in Australia and here to some degree, all the government agrees with each other. I don't want immigration. I'm going to vote Tory. Well, that didn't work. Well, I'm going to vote Green. Well, that didn't work. I'm going to vote Labor. Well, that didn't work. What changes? Like, no matter who you vote for, they keep bringing in more immigrants. Same thing in Australia. In Canada, you replace Justin Trudeau with another leftist. It doesn't stop. The problem is you need somebody to do what the people want. But when they're all doing the same thing, it doesn't matter who you vote for. That's why people say it doesn't matter who you vote for, because you keep voting and nothing changes. They keep just doing the same stupid stuff. That's what's freaking everybody out. So it's not so much I think you'll get a civil war. I think you'll get a nationalistic uprising and overthrow of the government once things get bad enough. It's just how bad do they have to get, and how far is your country gone? At that point, are you fighting the government and the migrants that are now there? They got a whole lot of fighting age males that are being let in. I don't know. Troubadour says, KC, Chiefs, Travis Kelce, and Taylor Swift are now engaged. Literally 0 people care, I think. I mean, I get why you're mentioning it, but what'll be funny is Taylor Swift, who's very leftist and everything, if they get married and they start having babies and they start to try to trans the kid in school, or their baby almost gets hurt by a criminal, I bet that'll be the left of Taylor Swift's fantasies about being a feminist. Troubadour says, I hope Travis divorces Taylor and wins a huge alimony settlement. That would be pretty funny, actually. Nova Fan says, these European women won't understand the full meaning of you voted for this until someone reports them for more racism. After all, the women in the first story had to use her real ID to go online. Yeah, I mean, but then again, look at this lady. She literally got carjacked and broke, and her arm was broken, and she goes on social media to own the Trumpsters and be like, well, we don't want you here, idiots. It's like, oh, do you see what happened to you? And this is the irony. This is what made it go so viral. She's saying, yeah, you might send people in and you might bring the crime rate way down, but we'd have to admit President Trump did something good. And I don't want to do that. So instead of admitting Trump did something good for me, I'd rather have my car be jacked and break my arm. That sums up everything you need to know. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. All right, I think I've covered all the live tips. But thank you guys very much, by the way. For you guys on Rumble, don't forget, we do have a really great community. Do I have my thumbnail? Let me see. We do have a really great community over on betterbachelor.locals.com. We got it's $50 a year if you want to do that. You don't have to do a year. If you want to just try it, you can just do monthly. It's $5 a month. For some reason, the page, whenever I see something that is darker, I assume that's the one that's been clicked on. It's the opposite on this page. So if you subscribe and you subscribe annually, it's $50. But you can subscribe monthly for $5 and try it for 1 month. And if you said, nah, this really isn't my thing, it costs you less than a stupid Big Mac. But I think if you come over and check out the forums and check out our posts and check out the live streams and check out everything we do, we've got a very high retention rate over there. People find value in it. Oh, that's not the button I wanted. People find value in it. They enjoy it. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's a much more active community. So if you'd like to get in with an active community and have people that, you know, think like you do and have similar outlooks on life, I jump on over. I think you'll like it. And it keeps the bots out and everything else. And I can stream UFC fights and movies and stuff like that without getting any copyright issues.